Have you ever wondered how a building made entirely of glass and iron changed the course of history? In the heart of 19th century London, a magnificent structure rose that dazzled the world and vanished just as mysteriously. This was no ordinary building, it was called the Crystal Palace. But what was it really? Just an exhibition hall? Or was it something far more symbolic, perhaps even prophetic? Welcome to Old Topic, and today we unravel the enigma of the Crystal Palace. What was its significance? Let's go back to the year 1851. Queen Victoria reigns over the British Empire, the world's largest and most powerful empire at the time. The Industrial Revolution is in full swing. Machines, steam engines, factories. Human innovation is exploding. But along with it comes uncertainty, anxiety, and the growing awareness that the world is changing at a breathtaking pace. Amid this backdrop, Prince Albert, the consort of Queen Victoria, proposed something unprecedented, a great exhibition of the works of industry of all nations, a global showcase of human progress and invention. But where could such a grand vision be housed? Enter Joseph Paxton, a gardener and architect who dared to dream differently. Inspired by the structure of a water lily, he proposed a palace made entirely of glass and iron, light, modular and modern. A building like the world had never seen before. It would come to be known as the Crystal Palace. When it opened in Hyde Park in May 1851, people were, well, absolutely stunned. It was 564 meters long, 33 meters high, and used over 1 million square feet of glass. Inside there were 100,000 exhibits from across the globe. Clocks from Switzerland, silks from China, machinery from America, and even, believe it or not, a full-size fountain. So more than 6 million people visited it, almost 1/3 of the entire population of Britain at the time. Quite staggering when you think about it. But you know, beyond the awe and the spectacle, the Crystal Palace stood for something deeper. It was in fact a monument to modernity. It declared that humanity was not just evolving, but mastering its environment. Iron and glass, once cold, lifeless materials, were transformed into art, into architecture. It was a symbol of the Industrial Revolution's triumph. But here's the twist. While the Crystal Palace celebrated progress, it also hinted at the tensions to come. It showed a world of stark inequalities. The British Empire displayed its wealth and colonial spoils, but, you know, behind the curtains were millions toiling in colonies for pennies. The machines displayed were wonders, but they also well represented a future where human labor could be replaced. It made people ask, is this future a utopia or a mechanized dystopia? After the exhibition, the building was dismantled and moved to Sydenham Hill, where it reopened in 1854 as a cultural centre, complete with gardens, statues and concerts. It was no longer just a building, it was a symbol of national pride, a site of learning and entertainment. But then came the tragedy. On a cold night in 1936, a small fire broke out inside the palace. Fueled by the wooden floors and, you know, the structure's sheer scale, the fire quickly turned into an inferno. By morning, the Crystal Palace was reduced to rubble, leaving only smoke and shattered glass. Winston Churchill, who witnessed the fire, said, "This is the end of an age." So what was the Crystal Palace truly? A celebration of invention or a stage for imperial propaganda? A beacon of human progress or a fragile dream that shattered too easily? Its influence stretched far and wide. Some say it inspired the design of modern malls, train stations, and even skyscrapers. Others believe it was a metaphor, a glass house reflecting our ambitions but also our vulnerabilities. Here's another mystery. Why was no effort made to rebuild it? Some argue that by 1936 the world had changed. The optimism of the Victorian age had given way to two world wars, economic depression and political instability. The palace, once a shining vision of the future, no longer fit the mood of the times. And perhaps that's the greatest enigma of all. The Crystal Palace was not just a structure, it was a mirror. It reflected the hopes, fears, dreams, and contradictions of an entire era. When it burned, it wasn't just a building that was lost, it was the symbolic end of the Age of Wonder. Today, only fragments remain, some iron columns, the outline of its gardens, a few statues. But the legend lives on. In history books, in architecture, in art. And now in your imagination. So, next time you hear about the Industrial Revolution or, the birth of modernity, just remember the shimmering palace of glass that once stood tall in London. And ask yourself, what does progress truly look like, and, well, at what cost? Thanks for watching, Old Topic. If this mystery intrigued you, stay with us. There are many more echoes from the past just waiting to be uncovered. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring.